Well, we're going to do an all Stephen A. Smith dedicated video because the brother deserves that much. A video has went viral that shows Stephen A. Smith clear as day in a public altercation with none other than Lakers forward LeBron James, as the Lakers were able to come back against the Knicks at the Crypto.com arena. A lot of lip readers out there are saying LeBron James told Stephen A. straight up and down to keep my son out of this ish. Everybody knows Bronny James, the son of LeBron James, is in his rookie campaign. He also plays for the Lakers. Let's just call a spade a spade. Bronny has had his struggles in year one of his professional basketball career. Stephen A. Smith is the voice of ESPN, the biggest that they got. He's on television every single day. Whatever he decides to talk about related to Bronny or anybody, it gets magnified. So Stephen A. did react to the altercation with LeBron, and he said straight up and down that was LeBron coming up to me unexpectedly, and he said that was LeBron the father, not the basketball player, coming up to him, and he said he can't repeat the words that LeBron told him because they're not suitable for FCC airwaves, but he said, you know, he thought long and hard about his conversation, or LeBron's conversation to him, and he said straight up and down, if LeBron and I would have had a conversation behind the scenes, I would have told him that I wasn't talking about Bronny. I was talking about you, LeBron. Stephen A. hopes Bronny flourishes into an NBA star. He said, I don't know anybody who roots against him. It certainly isn't me. But in the same breath, at the time we're talking about him, he was percolating to such a degree that the Bronny James stories have gone viral. And we have to talk about it. And when I said the things that I said, I wasn't talking about Bronny James because he's a rookie. He's going to take some time. Stephen A. said he was talking about the way LeBron has put Bronny in a position to essentially be magnified and scrutinized to a lot of ways. I have thoughts on this. I have a lot of thoughts on this one. So originally my plan was to lead with Stephen A. getting a new contract with ESPN. We're going to talk about that in a second because I'm so happy for the brother. But this story trumped that one because there's a lot to this. You know, LeBron James, the dad, walked right over to Stephen A. Smith and confronted him during a basketball game that he was dominating, by the way. The Lakers are right there in the thick of things in playoff contention to be a 2 seed out west. They got a real shot with Luka being in the fold to win a championship right now. So for this to be on LeBron's mind, he sees Stephen A. courtside, it tells you that he's been fuming and he's been waiting for an opportunity to get next to Stephen A. And be clear, I worked with Stephen A. Stephen A's not a short guy. Stephen A's a legit 6'3" for real. But LeBron towers over him, and clearly when he's using the words that he probably used, it's aggressive. LeBron has to realize, though, a lot of this is his fault. I love LeBron. I promise I do. LeBron James has to acknowledge this is a weird situation. LeBron is still too great. And he brought his son in to be his heir apparent. But his son is probably not good enough to be a professional basketball player. And it only gets magnified because LeBron is still at the peak of his powers. He hadn't slowed down in a couple years' time now. He's balling this season, which only brings more eyes to the James that's at the end of the bench as well as the one that's at the beginning of the bench, right? Like, think about that. You're never going to see a situation again where not only does a father pull a son into the league, but the father is still playing at first team all NBA level. And he plays for the Lakers, meaning fans are going to these games with their kids. They're getting 30 points from LeBron James. And then if the Lakers blow a team out, they're getting to see the son. It's like cherry on top entertainment, right? They're literally cheering Bronny on as if he's in a circus. LeBron has to at least acknowledge this is weird, okay? He has to at least acknowledge this is not a normal situation. His son is supposed to get covered like a professional basketball player, but the reality is nobody's talking about the 11th guy on the Washington Wizards. You don't even know who that is. But this is a unique situation. I thought Stephen A. fairly acknowledged that LeBron was on social media a few years ago discussing how if Bronny were in the league right now, which I think Bronny would have been like 16 years of age at the time, how Bronny was better than some NBA players right now. We have not seen that. There's no world where LeBron should have said that because he put more pressure on this young man's back. If I knew I had an opportunity to bring my son up, I probably would have done it too, right? But when you go as far as this, put out yourself, LeBron, yo, my kid's better than NBA players right now. That's not what we've seen through year one of the Bronny James experience. I would push back and give LeBron this in regards to Stephen A. Y'all got to think, I interned at First Take, right? I know people that worked at the top of First Take, and I still talk to some of these people, though they're no longer with the company. We talk about how First Take has transitioned, right? So I think a lot of people thought First Take would have been the matriarch of sports media because it's one of the highest rated sports shows you will see in the country every single day. But First Take's approach over the last couple of years, I give them credit. They're fitting in with the climate of social media, not standing out anymore. That's not what they're doing. They had Kai Cenat on the other day. Kai Cenat don't know a thing about basketball, but it just shows you ESPN First Take's playing ball. They're giving opportunities to people who probably not the greatest at talking sports. And with that, Stephen A's brain is acclimated. That brother is playing ball as the face of the ESPN brand, him and Pat McAfee, and he gets a lot of the scrutiny. A lot of that is because of the content. It does feel lazy. I'm telling y'all, I worked with Stephen A for a few weeks. I'm telling y'all, Stephen A is not as passionate about sports as he used to be. I'm telling you that. I promise you, you can see it. You can't lie to the people. I hear it in the content. This is a legend that I love, got love for. Took me under his wing for a few weeks. I'm telling you, though, there's been a pivot and shift in the content and the focal point of ESPN First Take that I understand why it offends people like LeBron. Like, damn, y'all talk about me every single day. And Skip Bayless is not there anymore to blame. Every day? The Thunder can win 22 games in a row. They may get talked about. LeBron and the Lakers go on a 3-game losing streak. They will get talked about. And that's got to be frustrating because now you're incorporating my son. Every time we were talking about the Lakers being bad, it's like they should make a trade. Don't tell me you're all in because Bronny's on the bench. So that's a very weird, peculiar spot for both LeBron to be in as a father who's still averaging pretty much 25 a game, to have a son that he pulled up into the NBA ranks that may figure it out one day, just not there yet. But the Lakers are now still in the limelight because they're the Lakers, and LeBron is still really good, and now they got Luka, so they're in the limelight. Everybody's talking. Like, Bronny may be the 11th most popular player in the NBA, right? I got to go check them jersey sales, but Bronny's probably peaking in jersey sales. I see a lot of father-sons doing the James and Bronny James jerseys, right? The reality is we've never seen anything close to that in the history of sports, period. Nothing compares to that. And then you talk about Stephen A, he's also in a very unique position. We're about to talk about his new deal in a second here. Stephen A is making a lot of money, $20 million per. And Stephen A is looked at as the face of ESPN, him and Pat McAfee. But I would say this, though, with the Pat McAfee thing. I never met Pat McAfee a day in my life. Pat McAfee's brand is a lot more kiddish, meaning it's a serious sports program, but I don't really feel like he gets the scrutiny if Stephen A would have said it, if Stephen A would have done some of the things that Pat has gotten away with over the years. You can start to play the game of technically Pat doesn't work for ESPN. He licenses a show through ESPN while Stephen A is actually an ESPN employee. You can play that game. You can play the race game. You can play the demographic game of who Pat caters to versus Stephen A caters to. You're talking about Pat, who caters to a lot of middle of America, work, steel mine, work somewhere on a farm, wherever, and come home tired. Okay, let me check out a little bit of what Pat had to say today, who he had on. Stephen A caters to a lot of his people, grown up listening to him, held him to a higher standard. He's the pinnacle of black success and entertainment in a lot of ways. Like, there's just a lot of things that you could really play with in that I don't want to do too much further than what I've already done. Stephen A's opinions get magnified. I said all that because there are a lot of people talking about Bronny James. But the clips that go viral because of Stephen A's brand, who he works for, what LeBron probably sees, because there's also this piece to the puzzle, right? As I've gone a little longer than I wanted to in this part of the video. LeBron also, again, speaking back to his greatness, He's a billionaire who's still averaging 25 points a game, right? Still got his team in contention. So, like, you hear about the Kevin Durant workouts. Anybody ever heard of the Kevin Durant workouts out there? Allegedly, Kevin Durant is an efficient workout guy. And I'm not knocking KD at all. They think I don't like KD. KD allegedly has like some of the most efficient 45 to an hour and a half workouts there is, right? And apparently it's just him sometimes not even missing shots. LeBron, as you can tell, clearly has been much more methodical in his physical muscle, which is why he's still looking the age of some of these 20-year-olds, right? Like, because clear as day, he's investing a lot in his body. Stay with me. I'm going to connect all these dots real quick. LeBron ain't got time to see every single clip that's going around, every single sports show. LeBron probably ain't listening to a niche market like Bill Simmons, right? I watch Bill Simmons. Bill's got a niche podcast for sports nerds like me, right? What LeBron probably catches, like me and you do, is the clips on social media. Who goes viral more than anybody? Stephen A. He could go viral on any sports blog, any blog of the culture, any professional site. He's going to make the New York Times, everything, because he's at the pinnacle of ESPN. So if LeBron's only got 15 minutes a day and 3 times out of the week, he sees Stephen A go viral. And I think that's hilarious because Stephen A's, to me, in my opinion, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of sports. Look, Stephen A's half-heartedly invested, but he's giving these half-hearted takes on Bronny James, on the Lakers, the product. I see why LeBron's mad, but LeBron has to understand he and his son and Stephen A represent very unique experiences in our country. They do. You've never seen anything like the three. If you love flexing your sports knowledge, you should head over to the best place to play fantasy sports and win some money while you're at it. That's Underdog. For me, I love the pick'em game. It's super simple to play too. All you got to do is go to the Underdog website or app. You got to pick whether a player will have a higher or lower stat line for that specific game. You get your picks right, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. And when you sign up, if you use your boy's promo code, which is Ferro, your deposit will get matched up to $1,000 is available to you in bonus cash. You can't beat that. Tap in with Underdog. My promo code is Ferro.